Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Sam Piraine, the Detroit City FC women's head coach. Coach Sam, you guys have recently made the jump to USL-W, the women's league. It's this pre-professional league. This is a pretty big jump for you guys. Tell us a little bit about it and how excited you are.
Yeah, well, first off, Happy New Year, man. Good to hear from you and see you. But yeah, no, we made the jump into the USL-W league. Once our men's team made the championship, the USL championship jump, it was almost a no-brainer for us to join suit. I think it was something that was part of the plan as far as if they were going to do that. We're looking at the bigger picture of a whole club and what can the club do. So, it was an easy transition for us to jump into there as far as the league allowing us and making sure that, we're doing the right things on our end. But yeah, the league itself, I think, is something that is going to be a bigger picture. I know it's a new league, newly formed league, but the teams that have announced their first year in the league, including us, are some high-level teams nationally, not just in our region. And I think what their bigger picture, their future picture, they want to launch a pro league down the road in the USL female side. So they had a lot of things that could offer that we saw that could help our club continue to grow, and kind of be on that fast track of what the men did in their short time. We're have a little faster, shorter lifespan, if you will, but we're able to, follow in their suit and hopefully make the right steps and become that pro side in Detroit and stick with the W League as well. So very excited to be part of this transition and excited about the league and seeing how it unfolds.
Absolutely. So the USLW, for a lot of those people who don't know, it is a brand new league, and it's set to kick off in May of 2022. A lot of teams, I think there's close to 30 teams right now. The players in Michigan from the female side, they've got to be excited. This is a great opportunity for those players to come into a club like Detroit City FC and showcase their skills, because you're right, they're not just going to be playing local and regional teams. These are going to be games that are going to be national, and they're going to really be able to showcase their talents. So have you had a lot of conversations with a lot of the players, and how excited are they?
Yeah, building this roster is a little bit of a challenge for me and my staff because of last year we had two teams playing in the league, in the first league and the second league with the UWS, and we had 67 rostered players between the two teams. Well, going into the USL-W league, we're going to have one team. So right immediately, there's going to be players that aren't going to have a home, if you will, with Detroit City this first year. But at the same time, it's not going to be in exactly the same replica roster as last year's first team. We're going to make some changes. And, I thought we had a great first year as a competitive side, but, ultimately the goal isn't just about having fun and playing in front of 4,000 people, but to win.
Right.
So now it's about what can I do? What changes can I make to help us get over that hump of not just competing, but also bringing home trophies and really making Detroit City a winner on both female and male side.
Absolutely. And you guys had a great year last year, but I know you fell a little short of the goals and expectations that you guys had. Have you set any goals or expectations coming up for this new launched USL Women's League? Have you not quite thought that far ahead yet?
Yeah, I've always had the goal of competing and wanting to bring titles. I think it's a reachable goal. It's an attainable goal. Obviously putting the players in place and having a short turnaround from our first training session to our first game is always an obstacle. And we're playing teams that have been together a little longer, maybe. And even though they are away and come back for the summer, it's something that they've been a part of for summers before. And it's just kind of a system that they're used to. We're trying to still create that, right? Last year, I thought we did a very good job. The brand of soccer we played was very fun to the fans, and it was appealing to watch. The games that we played in, both home and away, were competitive, and we got some good away results and some not so good ones at home in front of our fans. But I think that was the biggest obstacle from the beginning to the end of the year last year, was playing at home. The ladies said themselves that it was a challenge because of the noise. the communication on the field for them was hard to come by. And then we go away and we play a team and we beat them 10-0 and beat them 2-1 at home. So it was definitely an obstacle and a challenge. So one of the goals step forward is the environment that we're going to play in is going to be very common, something we got to be used to. And it's not an excuse. It's something that we have to overcome and you use it as an advantage. Like we've seen with the men's side, maybe they've been in games where we've obviously seen the men and they've won a ton, right? And there's been some games where maybe they weren't the better team or they didn't play the best, but because of the fans, because of the environment, and because of the way the team and the chemistry and the culture they're creating, winning just came naturally to them. So we're trying to get into that where we may not put our best performance in, but we have the backing of the fans. We have our culture. We have our identity that we want to do, where if we don't play our best, we can still find ways to get results. And I think that was the only thing last year that really didn't go the way we wanted it to. But as far as goals go, yeah, we want to compete immediately in 2022 for a W League title, both, the regional portion of it, and then once you get into the national side of it and play against those teams from all over, there's no reason why we shouldn't compete and shouldn't bring in the talent to play at that level. So goals are similar to last year, short term and long term. Short term is building a roster that can compete right away. Long term is lasting the whole 3 months of the season, and then the future goal of putting a pro side out there for people to enjoy. And so we have some short term goals as far as 2022, but also some long term goals that are still in the early stages of creating, but they're there for sure.
Those conversations are happening now, where you are going to be going, or hope to take this team full pro in the next couple of years, not just the pre-pro as they're calling it right now for the USLW, but the goal, you guys are setting those plans up right now to hopefully go full pro in the next couple of years, right?
Yeah, so 2023, they're saying USL will launch the Super League, which will be the pro women's league, just under probably the NWSL as far as the contracts and the quality of players. Maybe some players that aren't getting drafted are going to come in and continue to keep that dream alive. And we're 100% want to be a part of that. Does it mean we're going to jump in 2023? If we're not ready as a club, we won't do it. But we've seen how the club operates and how the off the field business side of it, how they've done and what they've done. So for us to make that jump, it would have to be something that makes sense for them to say, yes, financially this makes sense, or maybe we hold off a year. But as far as us being a pro side down the road, yes, 2-3 years. I can't give you a timeline. It could be as soon as next year, 2023, when they launch it, or if we're not ready as far as all the on and off the field stuff is there for us and we're not ready for it, then we'll hold off another year. But we have the rights for it in our area, in our region, so we're happy about that. And personally, yes, I want to be a pro side in 2023. Does it make sense? We'll see, at the end of next year or at the end of this coming summer, if it's a good step for us to go right away, or continue to develop and grow and make the call when the time's right.
It's awesome to see those long-term goals in place. This isn't just a shoot from the hip, see what happens, and we'll make a move and fly by the seat of our pants. So it's great to see that. With all that being said, obviously we're 5 months out from the kickoff of this new season in May of 2022. What are some of the things you're doing right now to prepare for that? Are you talking to some of the players? Are you putting a roster together and talking with your coaching staff and trying to figure out how you guys are going to play? And I'm assuming there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Everybody doesn't just think it's all fun and games, right?
Yeah. So, you always say that when the season ends, it's already starting the preparation for the following year. Now, being a summer league and girls are away to college, and, they might have a different plan as they get into upperclassmen in college, and they said they want to get an internship, and they're looking for their future job, where maybe playing in the summer is not going to be a thing. So we'll have that revolving door roster, if you will. It won't be the same as last year, but as far as building the roster, yes, we've started. We'll have some commitment announcements here soon. We'll see some familiar faces, but also, reaching out to all the local colleges around, from D1 all the way down to junior college. We want to give any player that feels they have the right ability to play an opportunity. So we'll have some tryouts, coming in when we hit February, March. We'll have some local stuff done, but a lot of the stuff that I'm doing as far as the players out of the area is just communication with college coaches. The biggest thing for me is making sure the college coaches know that if your player comes play for us, they're not only going to be in a proper environment, they're also going to be monitored, and their health, their fatigue, and all that's going to be being watched. It's not just going to be coming in, playing 4 days a week and playing every weekend game. I will give players rests and say, hey, your body needs to shut down for a week, because ultimately you want to go back to college and start as a junior, start as a sophomore, whatever the case may be. My job is to prepare you for that. Now, once we go pro, that's a different story. I have more of a roster that I can call mine. And then, you start building that culture or the identity a little easier. For me right now, what I've done is whoever commits to me, whoever we get to commit to the roster, they'll get a pamphlet from me. It's a couple pages, Google document or Google slide of our culture, my identity, my formation, roles in each position. So they know everything going in. So the first time we meet, it's not like we're starting from the beginning. We already have the ball rolling through all these off-season Zooms or off-season meetings that we have, just so when they come in and say, hey, I'm a center back, but we're going to play a 3-back, or we're going to play, a diamond midfield. I'm attacking mid. They know their roles and responsibilities. So kind of helping them, guide them, and help them understand what we're trying to do. When they come, it's an easy transition. But there's going to be obstacles and there's going to be challenges, and some players want to commit, but then they can't train. And for me, that's a no-no. You have to be a part of the whole group in order to be a part of what we're trying to do. You could be the best player in the state, but if you don't show up to a training environment, it's not fair for me to put you in a starting 11 when I have girls that are competing at this level, that can compete at this level, that are showed up to everything. So commitment is massive. We're going to train 3-4 days a week. If you're there 2 or 3 of them, then you'll be considered in the 18 for the weekend matches. If you can't because of work and you're showing up once or twice, then might just be a summer training environment for you rather than a team that you're playing on. Because again, ultimately my goal is to make players that want to be here, be a part of what we're doing. And that starts on Monday and ends on that following Sunday. And then we start all over again. Right. So committed to the group for 2.5 months is what I ask. And I think we saw that last year. Some players came in, instant impacts, and then faded away because they wanted to work. They wanted to just show play up in games. And we lost some quality players at the end of the year because I wouldn't allow it. So I got the support from the ownership. I got support from Trevor James, right, our GM and men's head coach. And, I think the philosophy that I'm trying to create is very similar to what he's done. And for me to lean on him and him to guide me in the direction that he's been is only a blessing, for me. So I'm super excited to work with him, and he's going to be a little bit more hands-on. And then my staff, as far as staffing goes, it'll be a different looking staff than last year. I had a great staff last year, super fun, quality coaches, a lot of them. And I think the reason why I did that is because I thought I wanted to give coaches opportunities to be in this environment. What I found out from that is, working during the day and missing training or only coming at our evening sessions really brought an odd environment when we come to match days and there's 2 different assistant coaches than the week before. And the players are like, well, the information is kind of the same, but it's not coming the same way as it should regularly. So I learned from that. And, it's going to be a smaller staff of people that are going to be around, but, nonetheless quality. We'll start announcing those as well, but it's pretty much a completely different staff than last year, which I'm excited about. So, all that is in the works. Like you said, we kick off May. Dates are still to be determined, but for me, it's once the new year hits, it's go time. We did a little stuff before the new year, but it was very small and not very important. But now we're looking to move forward and starting to put pen to paper and say, hey, are you in? This is what your expectations are. Yes, you're in. Let's get you announced. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get you going. So a lot to do still, but excited about it. And it's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah. 2 things I picked up in your talk there was, one, college coaches, they got to be happy because you're going to work with the girls. You're going to make them better. You're going to make them come to practice. And if they don't practice, they don't play. And not a lot of people want to come to practice and not play. So college coaches got to want to see that. They got to want to love that. And they got to love the fact that you're going to look after and make sure that the girls aren't overdoing it, right? You keep track of how they're doing. And then from the player side, if there's any players out there who are looking or thinking about coming to play for Detroit City FC and Coach Sam Piraine, like you said, the culture from the ownership down, everybody's in line. Everybody wants the same thing. It's winning, but a great culture and a club that gives back to the community. So a lot of these players, and they're coming in, they can expect to be involved in some community events and helping and really really feel good about themselves, not only on the field, but off the field as well, and be part of a family. That is something that Detroit City FC kind of sets itself apart from all these other clubs. And, it's about the community, it's about the fans, and something you mentioned as well, being on the field. A lot of these other smaller clubs, they've got a couple dozen people that show up to their games if they're lucky. Detroit City FC has thousands, whether it's the men or the women. The fans come out and they support the club, they support the teams, and that is great to see. So that alone should help bring a few extra girls in there to try out for you, and hopefully give you some extra looks. I do want to go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to talk a little bit about the fans, right? They were great even in 2020 when we didn't have, and they weren't allowed, they still made a presence. They made themselves heard. And last year being able to play in front of them, our first home game wasn't probably our best performance, but we played in front of 3,800 people. Our last game of the season against Lansing were almost 4,500 people. I mean, this is something that not a lot of people will ever play in front of, and we're only growing. But ultimately, like I said earlier, playing in front of that environment's great and all, but we got to start getting more results, and we got to start winning every game we play. And that's on me and my staff and the players to say, hey, thank you, fans, for doing what you're doing. We owe you. We got to start becoming a little bit more like the men and win at all costs all the time. That's the ultimate goal. So
Right.
Not easy, but it can be done.
It can be done. So you'll be jumping into the USL-W League, and along with you guys today, it was actually announced that Flint City has acquired Corktown's team, and now they're going to be known as Flint City AFC. So that's a rivalry game that's going to be kind of coming up for you guys, along with 2 or 3 others. So you got Flint City and AFC Ann Arbor and Midwest United FC, and 4 total Michigan teams. There's some big rivalry games that are going to be played there. A lot of fun, because we all know that Detroit City FC loves the rivalry games. You got to be looking forward to those games, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the state of Michigan is a hotbed for soccer, and we've said it before. We've said it years ago, and I just think it's ramping up even more so on the female side. And there's the USL-W league that, like you mentioned, the 4 teams that are in it, all of quality, right? Corktown has in the past and currently have quality from top to bottom. Midwest United, Lewis, Robinson over there, quality from top to bottom, right? AFC Ann Arbor, they were in the UWS. They took a couple years off with the pandemic and all that, but I'm sure they're going to have quality. They have the recruiting tools. They have the staff, right? With Boise as the head coach, Eric Rudland's an absolute wizard. As a sporting director. So our 4 teams are all going to be competing not only on the pitch, but competing for players. And that's going to be a challenge. But on top of that, there's also the UWS still going on. And all like Lansing's, there's a team out of Lansing still, capital area. Jags have formed a team in UWS. So the quality from the USL and UWS is just so high. That I'm extremely excited. And yes, there's always that rivalry between us and Corktown. And obviously next year will be a little different since they're not in Corktown, but they're going to be quality. I'm assuming it's going to be the same personnel. I don't know much about this move with the Bucks. Lewis with Midwest, if I were to say for me, not necessarily the fans or logistically rivalries or derbies, if you will. But for me, that's the game that I'm always going to have circled on my calendar, because they've gotten the best of us so far every time we've played. And I would say one game they were better than us. The other game we were probably better than them, but they still got the result. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. But for me, that's the group, that's the team, that's the quality that I want to get to and surpass. But yeah, that's the game that I have circled in for sure. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean the other ones are going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge. You have to bring your best 18 or you got the best 11 forward every time. Nothing's going to be easy this year, which I think is another reason why the USL might be a little bit stronger and a faster push to be where they need to be, because UWS was kind of watered down in some areas where there were 10-0 results, and it wasn't just ours. It happened multiple times with different teams. So I don't see that happening this year with USL. The way they have it lined up, we'll have 12 games in the mid-season during the season, 6 home, 6 away. And it looks like, AFC Flint. I'm sorry, Flint City AFC, AFC Ann Arbor, home and away, home and away. Midwest United, home and away. There's the Kings Hammer out of Cincinnati, and then Indy 11. Those look like that'll be our opponents. I mean, logistically, they're still announcing. I think that they started it with 30 teams, like you said, but they're up there already 37 since they last posted they had 30 teams. So there's probably going to be a couple more before January ends. And logistically, if there's something closer, then maybe Indy is not going to be.
Sure.
Excuse me, not going to be an option. But that's kind of how it looks like it's the layout's going to be. And again, Indy 11, quality men's side, good fan base.
Yep.
Can't imagine the female side being, even though it's going to be a first-year program, it's not going to be one of those ones that it's going to be an easy match. Nothing will. So super excited about that. Really gets to challenge me, but I trust myself and I trust my staff to put on a team that's going to go out and compete and try to win.
Awesome, man. Well, I tell you what, we're all looking forward to it. And if anybody is questioning the quality on the field, I can tell you firsthand, I watched a lot of the games last year in person. The quality was absolutely phenomenal. I was amazed at the first couple of games at how women's soccer has just come up so many levels in the last couple of years. And I guarantee now that you're making the jump to this higher level league, the quality is just going to go up. So if anybody's thinking about it, don't think about it. Buy tickets, get out there. And if you buy a season ticket for Detroit City, you get to get into the men's games and the women's games, which is a real nice thing. I'll throw out the website. That's debtcityfc.com. And it's very affordable tickets. So they go quick. So get on there and get those tickets quick. Sam, thank you for joining, man. It's really been a pleasure talking to you. And I cannot tell you how much we are looking forward to watching your team come together and play in the upcoming season, man. So exciting.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me, and look out, everyone look out for some posts coming up with possible registration if you're interested to be a part of it, right? Like I said, we're not finalizing our roster yet, and I'm willing to, take a look at anybody that thinks they have what it takes to play at this level, and we'll assess you and give you an honest assessment, and from there we'll either offer you a spot or move you along to something that might be a better fit for you. But nonetheless, love the support. Love what We Are Soccer is, and I continue to watch, and I love that you offered to have me on tonight and kind of shed some light on the women's side. Thank you.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. And anytime you post something like that and you're looking for players, we're going to reshare it. We'll share it and repost and see if we can get the best players in there and help you guys along as best as we can. Thank you for the love, Coach Sam, and we'll talk soon again, man.
Talk soon. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.